2 years ago, on a day like today, ETNL workers were actually hoisting the bottom part of a concrete vault right here where we are standing right now. That concrete vault is housing an altitude valve for both tanks. Back on that time, um, we have the construction at a very early stages point. Right behind me, there was the base preparation for tank number one. And right next to my right, there was the 1939 steel tank, still up and running. For those who don't know me, many of you already know me, but some of you hasn't. So my name is Jose Alvarez, and I have the privilege of being the city's project manager for the construction of this job. I want to welcome the city of Framingham and all the neighbors here for this celebration. We are delighted to have you here today to share with us the final completion of this project. An important project for Framingham, an important project for DPW. I want to give thanks to all the folks that were part of this effort and these contributions to make this happen. Major Spicer, City Council members, City Council Chair Mr. John Betty, our Executive Director Mr. Sellers, our Deputy Director Mr. Lucas, for all the effort and the cooperation to make this a success. Our DPW operations teams at the head of Jim Barsanti, Ashley, Steve, Peter, Chuck, all our guys who made a great job, and work with our consultant, Ray Pierce, to make this happen. Ray Pierce at the head of Rob, Brian, Amy, they did a great job, and our resident engineer, Derek, fantastic. The general contractor, ETNL, Jim, Jay, Richie, who actually performed this job with all his crew. You guys did great. And the subcontractors, of course, DN Tanks, a well-known company who is specialized on doing this type of tanks, for such an impeccable job through this process. And impressive construction methods that they put into place for both tanks. And of course, our DPW capital team, at the head of Bill, Bob, Diane, and Sue, for supporting me and for being a key role for the success of the project. And last but not least, a very special thanks to all the members of the community of Framingham, especially Indian Head Heights, Indian Head Road, Crestwood Drive, and all the whereabouts, for their patience. Because of that, we were allowing to have them today, these two beautiful tanks. And not only that, but also we keep improving our reliability in the infrastructure of Framingham. Thank you to all. My apologies for those who I did not mention today and did the hard work. They were sending the asphalt, doing the construction, performing all the hard work under the inclement weather of New England. For those, I would like to ask for a round of applause and for City of Framingham. Thank you so much. They deserve all the credits and the recognition for such a great job. Now I'm turning it over.
Thank you, Dr. Alvarez. Good afternoon, all, and once again, yet another amazing project in the city of Framingham. And I just wanted to say that it takes the hard work of a concerted group of people to make things happen. And this is just yet another example of that happening in the city of Framingham. I want to also acknowledge the residents in the community for being extremely patient with all of the construction and all of the disruption within the neighborhood. And I can only imagine that at times it was so loud and inconvenient and maybe even frustrating. But you have been excellent neighbors in understanding, and I just want to say thank you. This summer I had the opportunity to meet and spend some quality time with Mayor Karen Weaver from Flint, Michigan. The time we spent together talking about our respective cities and the ongoing daily crisis she experiences with water and water quality within her city. I am only grateful that we in the city of Framingham can turn on a faucet and have clean drinking water, and that is largely due to the incredible staff that we have at DPW. So not only are we fortunate in Framingham with our water, but we have this system as a backup for water supply and fire suppression, a true investment in the safety of our community. A big heartfelt thank you to the entire DPW team, the contractors, and also the residents of the Indian Head neighborhood, and I know Indian Heights a neighborhood. I can't thank you enough for all that you do. So now I'd like to turn this over to Chairman Dennis Giambetti to share a few words about the water tanks and the history of this project.
I just want to, on behalf of the City Council, I'm here with City Councilor Mike Cannon here today. I just want to, on behalf of the City Council, thank DPW for an outstanding job. But I really want to acknowledge, I think it was mentioned by the mayor and by Dr. Alvarez, the neighbors. But when I was campaigning 2 years ago for this seat, and this is my district, I happened upon this neighborhood during the construction. And it was a construction site. And if you can imagine what it's like living every single day in a construction site, it is very, very disruptive. But the neighbors were, as previously mentioned, very patient, understanding, and really worked with the Department of Public Works to work through those issues that were impeding their quality of life. And also, I think it's very important that we had a Department of Public Works that listened to the neighborhood, that made those adjustments as during those construction periods. It really worked very, very well. And now, at the end of the construction season, you can see that the road that is on Indian Head is brand new, much wider, much better quality for the neighborhoods. So I think just that in itself, I think, speaks volume to what the city of Framingham can do as we work together with the neighborhood and with our various departments. I also noticed that State Representative Jack Lewis just there. I just wanted to recognize Representative Lewis is also here, and also a close resident of this area. So again, I just wanted to acknowledge the neighborhood, thank DPW especially for all the great effort that they did and make this wonderful. And I'll leave it to DPW to kind of talk a little bit about the importance of these water towers and how vital it is to our quality of life and to the safety of our communities.
So I will be honest, I wasn't sure what was going to be said ahead of time, so I wasn't prepared to talk about the history, but I will do what I can off the cuff. I'll start, it's a common theme. I would be remiss not to take another opportunity to thank the neighbors once again for putting up with the construction, a multi-year construction project in their front, back, and side yards. Also a thank you to the residents of Framingham for their support and funding of this important infrastructure project. The Indian Head tank, the original tank that was here, Jose had mentioned that it was one tank and it was 3.5 million gallons worth of water storage. When we were in the preliminary development of this project, it was determined that for redundancy in our water system, and you see redundancy everywhere. You don't just see one hydrant for the town, you see many. You don't see one pump in a pump station, you see many. So we wanted to incorporate the same thing with our water tanks. So we were fortunate enough to have 2 parcels of land up here, one in which the existing tank resided and another one that was a little bit further back that was vacant. It was owned by the city already. So it provided itself a perfect opportunity to try to create a more redundant and resilient water system for the city. So what we did is we ended up being able to construct a brand new tank. Now the coordination of constructing a tank and trying to take a full 3.5 million gallon tank offline is an extraordinary effort. To be able to do that without a second tank next to it is, I don't want to say it's impossible, because we certainly would have worked through it, and we will at another time when we look at replacing another tank in the city in the future. But being able to construct a new tank first was definitely helpful and made it a very smooth transition that the neighborhood and the city probably didn't even notice. There was no loss in pressure, there was no loss in water service, and that's all because we were able to create 2 tanks. Now, that's also going to lend to the same redundancy in the future. Tanks need to be maintained, just like all of our infrastructure. So now we have that ability to take one of these tanks offline, perform internal inspection, cleaning, all the while fire service, water service, pressure, everything that the city of Framingham has come to expect from our water system will be maintained without any interruption. So with that, once again, thank you very much for your support, and we're very happy to say that we have created a more resilient water system for the future of the city.
And we christened our new water